guys, Tomboy601, and today we're taking a look at Scharnhorst 43, a ship, I'll be honest, I was not expecting to be coming around, and one that I sort of have some very mixed feelings about. And I think the bottom line, the summation is this ship just feels like weaponized nostalgia, especially for those of us who are in, I'm going to call it the old guard, the people who've been in Legends for a long time. Because back in my day, Scharnhorst was the ship you hated to deal with at tier 6 because it was an incredible brawler. It was one of the few German battleships that had torpedoes. It was down at tier 6, which was the money-making tier back in the day, and 9 times out of 10, you could guarantee that Scharnhorst was just gonna drive in nose first and be able to get its torpedoes off because of the current meta in those days. And that's what I think wargaming is sort of hoping that you think about when you want this ship. And I guess we should talk about how you get this ship. But before we do that, let's talk about the game, because you're going to see what I think some people would call a controversial play. Now, some people would say you have to win your side. And, like exceptions to the rule, we spawned on the seaside, but we see this Brandenburg pushing mid. So we are going to go ahead and move to intercept for 2 reasons. 1, I want to use those torpedoes, damn it. And 2, we seem to be the best one to deal with this. And, Scharnhorst being a brawler at tier 7, and given the current meta of the game with its sort of slower long-range engagements, if you have the opportunity to play up close, especially this early, you're gonna want to take them. So, as you can see, we have a Brandenburg off to the side. We've launched our torpedoes. Guns are turning. We got our first salvo off. We're turning in. We lose one of our guns. And you're going to see that's sort of a theme during this match, is getting our guns knocked as we take on a triple fire. But look at this. We get 2 torpedo hits for a pretty decent amount of time, and Brandenburg returns the favor with a set of his own torpedoes. Okay, so if you're interested in Scharnhorst 43, how do you get it? Well, it's not in the store. It's only through a sort of, I'm going to call it super prize, but the chance on picking it up is not the usual like super prize percentage. Basically, it has a 5% chance to drop from the Halloween 24 crate. And I've definitely seen a good number of these out and about. I think part of that helps with the fact that if you were around for the first day of the update, you got a free Halloween crate given the issues when the game came out of its patch, came out of the update. So I think a lot of people were able to get this one for free, and that's probably for the best. Now, what are the differences between Scharnhorst 43 and regular Scharnhorst? Not much. I'll be honest, I'm recording this video during the downtime where they are fixing the servers around the Halloween event, and therefore don't have access to the exact stats. But the summation that I've pretty much gotten is it is exactly the same ship, pretty much. The big notable changes is it's at tier 7 now, and therefore it has access to that final module, so hooray on that. And then the other notable change is in its secondaries, and the secondaries now have full quarter pen, i.e. the 1250 millimeter guns that represent its secondaries will now pen 37.5 millimeters of armor, which sounds incredible. But I want you to listen to what I just said. It's 12 secondary guns. So divide that in kind of half. There are a certain number of the secondary guns that are on the center line and therefore can fire on both sides. But there is a very limited number of secondaries that Scharnhorst actually has. As for our build to try and take advantage of this, we are running auto Celiacs, the brawling commander, the brawling base tech tree commander. There are a ton of options, but I found Celiacs, I think, is probably the best one overall. I did try that recent collaboration commander that focused exclusively into two secondaries, but I just found the already sort of lacking guns of Scharnhorst to be lacking even more. So Celiacs, full secondary build. We are using Haruna. Of course, if you don't have Haruna, you could go with a different, you could see if you have Henrique Fernandez. If you don't have him, then probably build in with a different commander, maybe some concealment with Kondo. But I guess that's where we should start talking about the flaws of Scharnhorst, because while it was a great tier 6 German battleship, what made it so all those years ago was its uniqueness, was that it was a premium, that it was the only German battleship with torpedoes, that it was a brawler. But when you elevate Scharnhorst to tier 7, and especially tier 7 this late into this game's life cycle, when there are so many other tier 7 German premium battleships that brawl, that have torpedoes, right? Is Scharnhorst 43 better than Odin? From a secondary perspective, yes. From a main guns perspective, I'd say no. Torpedo firing angles, yes. But how often, and this did happen quite a number of times, do your torpedoes end up getting knocked out? And at least on Scharnhorst, because of the more forward firing position, they are a lot more exposed to HE spam that you are going to receive at tier 7. So you find yourself, if you are able to survive into the later game, maybe not having access to those torpedoes that sort of are one of the main selling points of this ship. So I think there are far too many options up at tier 7 right now, especially for German battleships, for Scharnhorst 43 to really stand out. I think if I had to choose one, I would probably be rocking Brandenburg. That would probably be my choice of ship for if I could only have one German brawling battleship at tier 7 at the moment. And there's a lot of them. And, choice is a good thing. And if you're able to pull Scharnhorst 43 from a free crate, I'm happy for you. You're going to enjoy it. But as far as something that I would be chasing, that I would go after, I don't think Scharnhorst 43 is really something there. I guess we should talk about the one other difference, now that I'm thinking about it, between Scharnhorst and Scharnhorst 43 is in the consumables. Scharnhorst 43 does receive an engine boost, which is slightly useful for getting into unique and better positions throughout a match. But once again, I don't think it is particularly anything special. That is anything to truly write home about. And I just feel like overall Scharnhorst 43 is just sort of playing on that nostalgia of the old World of Warships, of the original World of Warships Legends days, several years ago, and making you want a Scharnhorst again for the big money-making tier. But that's just me. Anyways, let's get back to the game, because as you've seen, we've pretty much just spent our entire time within the B cap, and overall I think that's probably been our best play, because Scharnhorst is a brawler. We want close range. Our secondaries, we're out to about 11 kilometers on them. So if we can keep people within that, that is going to help our Alpha Strike, because the main guns of Scharnhorst, while they are fine on Shill when it has a great, when it has battle cruiser, when it has that good dispersion, Scharnhorst 43 kind of maintains a little bit of the poor dispersion of its original namesake ship, and as such, the main guns do start to really feel like they let you down at this tier. You start to really realize the struggles that this ship has, especially with its ballistics, especially when you're going up. You know, the guns at this tier end up being very good cruiser hunting guns. They are okay against battleships. They're fine against battleships, but they're not getting huge hits. They're not getting the big money shots that you need. And when you look at the player dispersion, like look at this game, look how many battleships there are compared to cruisers, compared to destroyers. So having a battleship that is going to be more effective against other battleships is probably what you want. So you end up doing kind of chunk damage to battleships every couple for whatever shells do land, and sometimes you get overpens, sometimes you get to a point where you shoot at a Republic side and you don't even have the penetration when it's flat broadside to go through its belt at longer ranges. Like, there are some fundamental issues with Scharnhorst's ballistics that mean you are probably going to end up struggling overall. You know, not saying you can't do well, but just be aware that, you know, these guns, the guns overall, are going to struggle at this tier. And just kind of be prepared for it. Hence why we built in the secondary so much, because, you know, they are technically the best version that these secondaries could be. So as we sort of make our way towards the end of the video, let's talk what we're doing here. Anhalt positioning himself in this little corridor right here. He has a double fire on him. We're going to continue just firing HE at him at this point because he's nose in. Our AP, especially with his small superstructure, is going to be hard to do any big amounts of damage to. So HE is probably just going to be our best bet. We also don't want to push him in this area because Anhalt, if you think we have good torpedo angles, Anhalt has incredible ones, especially for that location that he is in. So we're going to go ahead and push wide with our friend over here as we picked up the high caliber, and we continue to take up in damage. But this is probably going to be the last bit of combat that we see, as our friends are going to end up dealing with the Anhalt before we are able to get in position in order to do any more damage to him. So I guess final thoughts on the Scharnhorst 43. It's an okay ship. It's a fine ship. The quarter pen on the secondaries is really nice. I just don't think there's enough secondaries for you to do a ton of damage with the secondaries. And if you do a ton of damage with the secondaries, you're still going to struggle to get the XP from it because, you know, secondaries don't deliver as much XP as primary battery hits. So overall, is this a must pick up? Absolutely not. It's a fine ship, but it feels more just nostalgia bait to try to get you to buy crates than anything else. And don't worry if you don't end up getting it. Anyways, guys, if you like videos like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.